is only suitable for people aged 18 or over. Almost.
This program contains adult content.
Is there a God?
Big atheist.
Really?
What, am I an idiot? Come on.
That yes, it would be nice if you could throw your sins and your responsibilities on someone else. But it's not true.
It looks like far-left lunacy.
I don't believe that it's true that religion is moral or ethical.
You don't need to follow anybody!
It's not human intelligence!
If someone doesn't value logical consistency, what logical argument are you going to give them that will demonstrate that they should?
Welcome back, Rebels.
Yeah.
This is the first episode of Season 4.
Season 4.
Today is Wednesday, April 26th.
It's hard to believe it's been 4 years, even though we said the same thing last week.
Well, it's been 3 years.
3 years.
We're starting year number 4.
Mm-hmm. I'm using Trump math.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great? Like, if he manages to serve, if for some reason he manages to serve the 3 years of his 4-year term and then is like, I'm starting my 4th year, that means I'm done, right? And just fucks off.
Done to Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, like he's already been doing the whole time?
I already won. Got my re-election bid.
That'd be great. So we had Mithrin lined up as a guest this evening, but he had to postpone, and we hope to get him on the show sometime in the near future. He's
riding the struggle bus this week.
Yes, riding the struggle bus, and hopefully things will work out well. We wish him the best, and we'll get him back here as soon as possible. So this will be just a hostful episode for the first one of Season 4.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Which is good. I'm excited about it.
We haven't gotten to chat on the podcast by ourselves for a little bit of a while. Yeah.
Last week?
No?
Yeah, we had an hour of it.
Well, yeah, but we also had a guest.
Well, yeah, but that was only half of the show that we got
to half.
Shoot the
now
shit.
Now we get to fuck around for 2 full hours.
We've got a little bit of housekeeping.
Also, they will have noticed there's a new intro for this season.
Yeah.
Because they're going to probably be wondering why we didn't address that. But
anyway,
that's the new one, and that's what it is.
I like it very much.
We all 3 liked it.
It's
fun.
It's more Matt did all the music for it. Did all the quotes. Like, and when I say Matt did the music, you wrote the music.
This time
right?
I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Just say yes and take the glory.
The one before that we decided not to go with, I did.
Well, it's still lovely. I like it very much.
I don't know if I like it as much now that Matt didn't make the music.
Yeah, it seems less cool.
Yeah. Like that was the appeal to it.
Oh.
I like it a lot, Matt. Thank you very much for putting that together.
No problem.
Yeah, it's very nice. We received a comment from, I guess now I have to say, Dr. Dave Morris.
Okay. All British people are Morrises, and they're all fucking doctors.
Is that how this works? Yeah, I mean, that has to be how it works.
I think you just get your doctorate when you pass grade school there.
Oh.
That's why Spike isn't one, because he didn't go to grade school there.
Well, and maybe people who aren't listening really closely don't know that there's Dr. Dan Morris, and there's now Dr. Dave Morris. I mean, there's been Dr. Dave Morris, who has been contributing to the show through comments and shares and that kind of stuff, but it wasn't until very recently that we learned that he was a doctor when he sent in this comment that says, I just finished listening to Bannon Parts 1 and 2. As a follower of U.S. politics, this was brilliant and really helped with showing how particularly scary this administration is for every creature on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
However, I send this related to the running theme through the 2 shows, the magnificent HHGG.
Hitchhiker's Guide
to the Galaxy.
First, in part 1, you were chatting about what was the original. It wasn't either the BBC TV serial or the books. It began as a 6-part BBC radio series in 1978, followed by Restaurant at the End of the Universe in 1980, also 6 parts. As a bit of a HHGG geek, I I believe that the radio series is by far the best of all the various versions. It is still available in various places.
And I'm going to go find that. Because that, I honestly, I
sounds
think
cool.
Pretty cool. Some of those old radio shows where they do all the sound effects, they're actually really cool to listen to.
Oh, yeah. As for 42 having a deeper meaning, the great atheist Adams said, quote, "The answer to this is very simple. It was a joke. It had to be a number, an ordinary, smallish number, and I chose that one. Binary representations, base 13, Tibetan monks are all complete nonsense." I sat at my desk, stared into the garden, and thought, 42 will do. I typed it out. End of story.
Take
End
that,
quote.
Tibetan monks.
And then he finishes his comment with, in solidarity with Dr. Morris of the Two Skeptical Chaps, I hope this has been of help. Dr. Morris, PhD,
Oh, boy.
16th century French history.
So like a master's-ish then, really. French history. No, but so...
He has a deep understanding of those cheese-eating surrender monkeys.
Well, you know why the new French Navy has glass bottoms in all their boats, right?
No.
So they can see the old French Navy.
Dear.
Wah, wah. I don't know a whole lot about French history. I'm
Neither do
sure
I.
it's...
I just know I heard that joke once. I'm like, ooh, they must have a bad Navy.
I'm sure it is very rich and savory.
Yeah. Marie Antoinette and Napoleon.
That's pretty much the extent of it, yeah. I don't know what else to do right now.
Okay,
Awkward,
I thought you were...
awkward space there.
Okay.
I know we picked up a new Patreon subscriber.
You would think
Nice.
at the start of season 4 we would be used to one another by now, but...
Guess who it was?
It's our new favorite listener.
Uh-huh. It's Miss Brandy Hamrick. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Brandy Hamrick.
That's exciting. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. Christy Kalbach, Andrew Vodopich Jefferson, Mo Cowbell, Wes Aaron, Utah Outcasts, Andy Faulkner, Angelica Pearson, Jeremy Goodson, Taylor Grin, Grant Larimer, and Savadakuna, and the Gaytheist. Thank you all very, very much.
It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you muchly.
You guys have anything else to talk about before we move into the new types of things we're going to be doing?
No, not really.
What the fuck was that?
That was the other guest.
I'll get you.
That was the other guest that might make an appearance this show.
Savoir-faire.
No, that was a French accent.
Savoir-faire is everywhere. All right. Let's move on to the other things then.
Hello, my name is Michelle Short, co-chapter head for the Satanic Temple in Arizona, and you are listening to the Godless Rebelution. Please find us on the interwebs at thesatanictemplearizona.com.
Lawrence, why is it that most good scientists don't believe in God?
Well, I think you're overstating it a little bit. I think that most scientists don't think enough about God to know whether they believe in him or not. It's just irrelevant. There's no evidence that we need anything other than the laws of physics and the other laws of science to explain everything we see.
Please stand by. The Godless Rebelution will continue in a moment.
Hey everybody, this is X.
And I'm Kyle.
And I'm Felicia. We're the Utah Outcasts.
3 out, unashamed, and active atheists living in Utah.
And we are personally inviting you to let us love your ears each and every week.
As we take the news, current events, and pop culture and give it a little twist.
A love twist, with consent.
And we'll be joined each week by a special guest to tell us what makes them an outcast like us.
Come find us.
The Utah Outcasts.
On podhell.com, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play,
Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
And on UtahOutcast.com.
We finally bought that domain off the kids handing out mixtapes in the mall.
Come be an outcast with us.
Take care of yourselves out there.
Bonne nuit.
And you're welcome.
Thanks for listening. Now back to the show.
If you base medicine on science, you cure people. If you base the design of planes on science, they fly. If you base the design of rockets on science, they reach the moon. It works, bitches.
So did you see what came out this week?
What?
Bill Nye's new TV show on Netflix.
Did we mention it last week? I feel like we mentioned it last week.
Don't know if he mentioned his new show, because I had forgotten about it, because I knew it was coming out. I'd completely forgotten about it, and then when I was at work, Friday night, I think I saw it there on Netflix. I'm like, oh, I gotta watch that Saturday, so when I got to work Saturday, I watched his show all day long.
At work?
At work. It's
Sweet.
a fire station.
Sweet.
On a weekend, in the middle of a desert.
And?
It's good.
But?
Bill Nye's not a good actor.
Well, he never was.
No, that was the only downside to it. It seemed like he was forcing some
did you ever watch Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Yeah, when I was 12.
Like, it was fucking
and
terrible.
It was fucking awesome.
Well, I mean, it was cool in that it was geeky and nerdy and cool, and he would do fun things.
Yeah.
But he's always been a terrible actor,
but the thing is
it was almost like that was part of the deal.
His corny acting.
Yeah.
But here's the great thing. He still made it for those kids that watched it when they were 12 years old, who are now in their 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Are there, like, stuffed animals?
No, but he's got adult-orientated content in there where he's making, like...
Orientated?
Yeah, not Orients.
What?
I know where you're thinking.
No, neither of us were thinking that.
I
was thinking oriented.
I'm not sure what you mean, yeah.
He throws, like, the sexual jokes in there and that kind of stuff, so it's
good?
Yeah. I liked it, and there's one skit which I'll have to find that we'll have to play on here sometime. When he did a whole episode on different sexualities about like the whole LGBTQ spectrum, and they did a cartoon with ice cream.
Oh yeah, I saw that earlier.
Yeah,
today or yesterday.
Yeah, where the vanilla ice cream comes there and has their conversion therapy. Everybody must be vanilla ice cream. They're
right.
Like, well, I don't want to be vanilla.
Don't you
want to
be in
chocolate
a nice
ice cream?
Neapolitan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a whole kinky
So was that your
show.
favorite part of the whole thing?
Just sexy ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
So I don't need to watch any of the show now. I just know that sexy ice cream wins, and
there was one pseudoscience one where
he's talking about how he used to think GMOs were bad.
He does bring that up.
Oh, really?
How he changed his mind. He does a whole show on like GMOs and stuff, and he actually does bring up saying, "Hey, at one time I thought this, this way, but I've learned to look at the evidence and review it and then change my opinion."
Be a scientist.
Pretty much. So yeah, that does come up, his whole anti-GMOs, older stuff with that. And yeah, it's a pretty good show.
Cool.
I'd say watch it.
I would have to check it out.
And there's little celebrity drops in it. They're pretty funny too.
You mean cameos?
Yeah. Well, they just drop in and like they'll help with an experiment or they come out of the audience.
I'm picturing just like celebrities falling from the ceiling onto the floor and him
he does have a ceiling
stepping over them or something.
He does have
a giant
walls
vat of ice cream.
He does have walls that move around and drop out of the ceiling, and he always does something weird to make it like he's magically making walls move. And a little corny there, but
yeah, I'll have to check it out. What are we covering for news in science? I keep saying news. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me.
That was not a bad recovery.
Thank you. I should have not pointed it out.
Yeah.
Now everybody sees it.
I have an article here that is not exactly groundbreaking, but it's from Christian Today, and I just thought it was interesting.
Ooh.
Speaking of Bill Nye, this is someone who was writing about the recent March for Science.
Oh, my God.
I hated that Smarch for Science.
Yeah.
I did kind of say that. I was going to say Science March, but then...
there was some controversy around the march here. We can talk about it.
Yeah, I heard about that. I read the little thing that was posted on Facebook about that.
Yeah.
This comes to us from Elaine Howard Eklund. She says, most Christians assume that scientists who are atheists are anti-religion. I hear this stereotype a lot when I visit churches, and I used to believe it myself. This weekend demonstrated it, not because the March for Science has overcome concerns of divisions and managed to incorporate most religious viewpoints into the rally. But what I've learned in the past 10 years paints a different picture about how scientists feel about religion and spirituality, and it's not the same as Richard Dawkins. During the past decade, I have led four large studies on the faith perspectives of scientists. The most recent is a research study published in 2016 on the religious views of scientists in 8 regions: the US, the UK, Taiwan, India, Hong Kong, Turkey, Italy, and France. For the study, the largest ever conducted on how scientists view religion, my colleagues and I surveyed more than 12,000 biologists and physicists and interviewed more than 600 of them in depth. Full disclosure, she says, we did find that scientists at top universities are much less likely to believe in God than the general population in several national contexts. And many of them do believe that science is the only true way of understanding the world. So imagine that. The top tier of humans at getting answers correct aren't theists.
Weird.
Yeah. However, few are actively hostile toward religion. The proportion who believe there is no God, which is kind of a straw man, varied immensely by nation, ranging from a high of 51% in France to a low of 6% in Turkey. But I could count on two hands the number of atheist scientists we met who are strongly anti-religious, as Dawkins is. What we also found when we looked at our data on scientists' attitude toward religion is that a number of non-religious scientists are what we call spiritual atheists. These scientists, ranging from about 1 in 33 in India to nearly 1 in 3 in Taiwan, do not believe in God, but they do believe in something beyond themselves.
What the? I hate the
whatever that fucking means.
I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. What the fuck does that mean?
I'm an atheist, but there's something beyond me. There's something larger than me. No fucking shit. Almost everything, in fact.
How do you know that when she said they're spiritual, when she said, well, they believe there's something larger than them, did she ask them, hey, do you believe there's something bigger than you out there? And like, oh, yeah.
Like Earth.
Like, there's a
My
whole
house,
solar
my
system
car,
out there.
horses,
like
elephants.
there's way more out there that we don't know about and that we could still explore. Like, there could be another race of species on another planet that are way smarter and more intelligent and, yeah, technically taller than us. So, yeah, there's something bigger out there, possibly.
Yeah. Well, apparently to her or to whoever she was talking to, it means something of greater purpose that matters to how they act and find meaning in the world.
What does that even mean? That doesn't explain it any more than just saying I'm spiritual.
Somebody could be like, oh, that sounds like love. Then yes, I believe in that. Or,
or
whatever.
I believe in
compassion,
the unicorn.
kindness.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, what?
Nonsense. Love included and all that stuff. Just poppycock. No. Some scientists we spoke with even suggested that not believing in God allows them to admire and exalt the natural world in a special way.
Okay.
In the U.S., we found that more than 8% of atheist scientists and more than 14% of agnostic scientists say they are interested in spirituality, ranking near the middle compared to other countries and regions in the survey.
Well, you could technically say we are interested in spirituality, not saying in a spiritual sense, but to say, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, we're interested in why people believe this stuff.
Right.
Why other people have spirituality.
Yeah.
What that means. What does that even mean?
And that they split atheists and agnostics.
I know that too. Yeah.
That bothers me.
Well, and I mean, just like I said earlier where she said the proportion of people who believe there is no God. I mean, she clearly doesn't really even know what she's talking about.
No, if you're going to be writing a story about atheists, it would be great if you knew what a fucking atheist is.
Yeah.
Like, I have several Bibles in my house, but it doesn't make me religious.
Right.
Okay.
Agreed.
Well, she's saying, like, people are like, oh, well, they're researching spirituality and stuff, so they're spiritual or they have an interest in it.
Huh.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where she was going, saying they showed an interest in spirituality type stuff. So hey, they like spirituality stuff, so.
Right.
I don't think she's still clearly defined what she even means by spirituality.
Well, but she's a writer for Christianity Today, so she already thinks that she knows what spiritual is, and probably didn't even cross her mind she'd have to figure out how to define that.
I think where she's trying to head with is saying, well, scientists also believe in God, even though it's not the same one we believe in, so they're not really bad.
Yeah, well, she's writing for her audience.
Yeah,
Christianity Today. So
yeah. Ironically, doing a sort of scientific study. Notice she's not praying for these answers.
Yeah, was this a Facebook poll?
No, it's from Christianity Today.
No, where did she do the poll at, though? Where she asked people?
Where is she getting her statistics?
From the U.S., the U.K., Taiwan, India, Hong Kong.
But, I mean, is she just posting this on their Facebook walls going, can you take a poll for me?
Honestly, I don't know. In Taiwan, 36% of scientists identify as spiritual but not religious. Most of them come from a Catholic or Protestant tradition, which surprised me. They are disproportionately represented among these in the early stages of their career, scientists in training or those who are not tenured and are more likely to be located at elite institutions.
So the scientists and professors who are not tenured at these institutions are the ones who are more likely to be...
Yeah, the younger ones are more likely to be spiritual, and then by the time they're advanced in their career, they're typically more atheist.
So what you're saying is the more they learn, the less likely they are to be a religious person or spiritual.
Yeah, more experience, more understanding, more knowledge base.
Or in some of these countries, can
more
it be,
liberal,
more maturity.
I'm tenured now. I don't have to hide my beliefs.
Less authoritarian.
Mm-hmm.
All of that comes with a higher IQ, more knowledge, and experience. Yeah. Huh. Well, that's interesting.
Also, you sort of stop with that happy-go-lucky young person attitude and vigor.
Where you feel indestructible.
Yeah, not only that, but that
stops?
but that you're more likely to believe that there's some sort of a benevolent God with a plan in mind, because toddlers think that about their parents, like they've got this whole perfect thing staged and set up and everything's about me all the time, and you do sort of slowly grow out of that. I mean, some people never do, of course, and some people do when they're too young for it, sometimes, but it makes sense too that by the time you get tenured and experienced and aged, you get a little more crotchety.
Well, I wonder
you start looking at the problem of evil rather than, oh, there's a good plan for me, because all of a sudden you're like, well, no, there's a lot of fucking shit happening. Like, there's a lot of bad things out there for sure.
Well, I wonder if also the stuff that they would have associated with a god or a spirit earlier in life, they have now gone through and peer-reviewed studies and read a whole lot more papers and gone, wow, there's a whole lot of shit that I used to attribute to God that now I have an answer for, that I now know, oh, we've researched and studied it, and that explains this phenomenon. It's not a phenomenon. This is why that happens. It's not a God.
Or you understand if you don't have an answer that you don't have an answer, not just that you get to make one up and stuff it in there.
But I still hear scientists use that thing where it's like, well, there's still, it's the God of no gap, really. It's saying, well, there's God, but, it just controlled the beginning and then everything else happened. So, but you can't explain the beginning. Right. So that's God.
I'm just going to follow that up really quickly with this, what I thought was interesting, that a handful of some of the best signs from the March for Science were cataloged.
There were some fucking good ones.
A lot of these have been flying around Facebook, so I'll just go through them really quick. The same people who think climate change isn't real think wrestling is.
But it is.
Chemistry is what made Trump's spray tan. There was a sign draped over a border collie that read, "Cat, alternative fact."
Yep.
A lot of cutout pictures of Trump's administration saying protons, neutrons, electrons, and morons.
Yep.
That's been going around. Question, how often did he save everyone on Gilligan's Island? The millionaire? Never. The professor? Pretty much every episode. I can't believe I'm protesting for reality. No science? No internet porn. At the start of every disaster movie is a scientist being ignored.
True.
Someone had a 80s style stand-up sign that said, "I've seen smarter cabinets at IKEA." Without science, Trump couldn't get it up.
Ooh.
Things are serious when the introverts show up. I flew United to get here. That's how important this is. More Newton, less Putin.
Oh.
And only you can prevent forest fires. Seriously, we've been defunded. It's just you now.
Please take care of the forest.
I saw a real good one with a Rick and Morty sign. I can't remember what it said on it, but hey, he did a really good drawing of Rick from Rick and Morty. Something about shoving something up someone's ass.
Of course.
Because it's Rick and Morty, and that's how they are on that show.
But you don't remember what it was?
I don't remember what, shove your science up. I don't know. I'm going to shove my science up your ass or something.
Well worth bringing up.
It was. I love that cartoon. If you aren't watching Rick and Morty, fucking watch that shit. It's fucking awesome.
He sounded like, I don't know, somebody's weird uncle who's like, I got this joke for you. It's great. It's great.
That's how 90% of my jokes go.
Okay. No, I got it. So this guy, right? No, there's two guys. There's two guys.
Girl.
And then you can never remember the punchline.
Yeah. That's
This is great delivery.
I just, when you first started talking about that, I remember, I saw one with Rick and Morty on it. I don't remember what it fucking said, but it had Rick and Morty on it. It was a good fucking drawing.
Hi, this is Yvette Dontremont, aka the Cybabe, and you're listening to Godless Rebelution. You can find me at cybabe.com, at my Twitter account at the Cybabe, and if you've hunt really hard, you can find me at Pornhub. I dare you.
I think it is really important to recognize, as has been said, that science does not make it impossible to believe in God. It just makes it possible to not believe in God. And that's really important, because until you had science, everything was a miracle.
The next rant will start right after this.
Here follows a public service announcement for the Two Skeptical Chaps podcast. Greetings, Americans! Over here in London, we are well aware that not all of you are loud, xenophobic, racist, sexist, religious nuts.
But many of your politicians who display these frightful traits seem to be quite popular.
Particularly a certain wall-obsessed, small-handed, best-word-using, daughter-perving, war-inciting, candy-floss-headed clown.
To those of you who choose to follow such balderdash, we strongly recommend not to listen to the Two Skeptical Chaps.
It probably won't be your cup of tea.
Otherwise, give us a listen.
Each episode, we cover any news or current affairs from across the globe.
Things that annoy or delight us.
That's two, as in the number 2.
And skeptical with a K.
The wrong way to spell it. Cheerio!
Well, when you guys were talking earlier about some of the quotes, it reminded me of one that I've always really liked from Tim Minchin, where he says, throughout history, every mystery ever solved turned out to be not magic.
Yes. Nice.
I've always really liked that one. What else have you got for us in the
this
Skience most foul.
Skience most foul. Verily, we are hugging.
Oh, yes, we are.
This is pretty interesting. North America was a surprisingly old destination for humans in our evolutionary relatives, say investigators of the controversial set of bones and stones. An unidentified Homo species.
You said bones and stones.
And Homo. They used stone tools to crack apart mastodon bones, teeth, and tusks approximately 130,000 years ago at a site near what's now San Diego.
To get to the creamy filling?
I assume so. This unsettling claim upended the scientific debate over the settling of the Americas. Comes from a team led by archaeologist Stephen Holen of the Center for American Paleolithic Research in Hot Springs, South Dakota, and paleontologist Thomas Daubenmire of the San Diego Natural History Museum. If true, it means that the Karate Mastodon site
the Karate Mastodon site?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
You need to get Ralph Macchio in there to help out that situation.
That the site contains the oldest known evidence by more than 100,000 years of human or human-like colonists to the New World.
Karate Mastodon is going to be my new band name.
If you're in the 90s, that would totally kill.
No, it's still relevant.
It's still relevant?
Yeah.
Nice one, Ryan.
It's got a long neck.
What? Do elephants even have necks?
No, but giraffes do.
Oh my God.
Around 130,000 years ago, the researchers say a relatively warm and wet climate would have submerged any land connection between northeastern Asia and what's now Alaska. So ancient colonizers of North America must have reached the continent in canoes or other vessels and traveled down the Pacific coast they propose. Candidates for Southern California's mastodon bone breakers include Neanderthals, Denisovans. That one's always,
the Denisovians.
Yeah, that one always screws me up.
Yeah, they had a football team in San Diego, but they moved.
And Homo erectus, really?
No.
Oh. Football's even older than we thought.
Yeah, they're actually in Oakland.
Oh, right. So all of those various species did inhabit northeastern Asia around 130,000 years ago. Less likely possibility, Holland says, is Homo sapiens, which reached southern China between 80,000 and 120,000 years ago. No hominid fossils have turned up among the mastodon remains, however.
So what would be curious with that is whose ancestors do they belong to? Do they keep going south and, go to South America, or do they stay here in North America? And
both. I mean, it's absolute fact that Native Americans came from Asia.
Yeah, but
there's absolutely no doubt about it. No matter what the Mormon Church says.
Oh yeah, we know that. But I thought there was DNA differences between people that were down like the South America versus people in North America. They came from a different lineage.
From the tests that I've seen, they covered Alaska to Greenland and all the way to Chile. So I don't know. Maybe there's some slight variation. I mean, of course, this would all have to be pre-1492, because then after that you get Spanish,
Afro-Caribbean. I'm going like way back to like
there's
pre-Spanish invading.
And this is all just me trying to remember bits of things I've read, and I have no expertise, but I know that there's some speculation about Polynesian.
There was that, and I did see a new thing on
western side
when I was watching, because there's that the Great Kon-Tiki where they're talking about the Polynesians moving around with their boats following the current and stuff, and then later on scientists said, nope, yeah, it's possible that current thing is whole, it's true, that works, but DNA evidence shows no, they were not related.
Who wasn't related? The Great Kon-Tiki?
Yeah, the Great Kon-Tiki saying was what the Polynesians doing their island hopping and saying, hey, maybe they came here. They're good boatsmen. They were really good at crafting these boats, traveling the oceans and stuff. And his experiment proved, with their technology they had, with their resources, it was completely possible to build a boat and follow the current and land in the places where you're saying they landed. But when they went and did DNA tests on people, they're like, no, the DNA markers don't line up that you are all related.
So it's possible that they could have done that, but
they could have, but it's not. The DNA says no.
At least to breeding.
Yeah.
But there was a mysterious migration of sweet potatoes from South America to Polynesia at some point.
Can they build boats?
Yes.
Sweet potatoes?
Yes.
Sweet potatoes float on their own, so they just drop them in the ocean and go.
And they have a good eye for direction.
Well, they just follow the current.
1,000 days.
Well, that's what the Great Kon-Tiki experiment was. Saying that they didn't have
how to make sweet potatoes?
No, just a boat adrift on its own, making its way to the islands.
A sweet potato?
Yeah.
Okay.
They probably had sweet potatoes. They had to eat something.
Oh man, we're sprouting all kinds of new jokes here. That's the one that got you guys?
Yeah.
There was a steady build up, and that was
a sprout.
That took us over the edge.
Okay.
Because it was the most unexpected.
Because it was the worst one.
It's also how Tracy's mom says potatoes. It's potatoes.
Potatoes? Yeah, potatoes.
Oh, it's a Utah thing.
I'm like, I've heard potato.
It's a lazy thing.
She says potatoes and pajamas.
Really?
Gonna put on my pajamas.
Maybe she's Arabic, like I was talking earlier. They don't do P's. They make P sounds instead of P sounds.
They don't do P's?
No, they don't have the P sound in their alphabet. So all the P's are buzz.
Got more for us?
Yeah, I'm curious to see where Ryan will take this one.
Okay, well, I'm ready.
Random Ryan. A fluid bit.
I don't know where to go with that.
We'll start that one again.
Fluid bit.
A fluid-filled bag that mimics the womb kept premature lambs alive and developing normally for 4 weeks. Lambs that God fully intended to kill before scientists stepped in. Lambs at a gestational age equivalent to that of a 23 or 24-week-old human fetus had normal lung and brain development after a month in the artificial womb. A similar device might be ready for use in premature human babies in 3 to 5 years if additional animal tests pan out, study co-author Alan Flake estimates. But, mark my words.
Oh, they'll be against it.
Religious people will throw a fucking fit about this for being unbiblical or ungodly, but they have never even thought about this before. It's not an issue they're currently complaining about, just like they never cared about abortion, condoms, or gay marriage before those became possibilities.
Well, they'll just throw it under the blanket of it's not natural.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if this really was against God, they would have been saying this from the beginning. But they're going to wait until all of a sudden it becomes a thing that they're all, because they would never come up with this on their own. They have to wait for science to invent something, and then they can throw a fit about it. No, we're not going to accept that. and then find somewhere in the Bible that makes it sort of make sense that, oh, okay, see right here. But they're not screaming about it now because it's not fucking in there. And you have to wait to figure out what you need to make shit up about before you can.
Well, you want me to throw my curveball at you? When I saw this, my first thought was the fucking Matrix.
It is
a living creature in a sack, and you could see into it,
sealed bag,
and it had tubes coming out of them. Like, oh fuck, they're gonna start harvesting us.
Turn them into a battery.
Pretty much.
This is bad. But this is not the science fiction scenario of Brave New World or The Matrix, in which humans were grown entirely in tanks, says Flake, a pediatric and fetal surgeon at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia.
Yeah, it still needs the womb development time. It's just.
Well, what do you think? So you said Christians are going to complain about this. What do you think will be their main point of contention?
Well, I'm just going to say, if they complain about this, saving a child's life, but they don't complain about one being on a respirator and IV fluids and stuck in an oxygen tank when it's premature, that's fine. But if one's a few weeks earlier and you got to throw it in one of these little bags to keep it going, keep it maturing so that way it can develop correctly, that's wrong.
Yeah, you're assuming that there's no cognitive dissonance in Christians.
Oh, I'm guaranteeing there is. That's why I'm like, it's...
two consenting adults of the same gender? No, that's not okay. Priest raping a kid? Fine. Who cares?
I mean, where I see great things with this is, say, you have a mother that got into a car accident and she's expires, but there's time to recover the fetus. Like, hey, we got this way, we can remove it, put it in this thing, and it can continue to grow. And that way...
I guess
I see, save it if they want.
So I see a potential danger in this, in that Christians won't be crying heresy or this is science gone wrong or anything. They'll use it as justification to
end abortion. Like, don't abort it, just put it in a sack.
Yeah.
Ziplock it.
Yeah, you don't get an abortion anymore. You have to carry the baby until we can throw it in a sack.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That seems to make sense.
So that way we can have, $100,000 in medical costs, then have the state pay money to get the thing adopted out.
Kind of reminds me of those old boiling bags. Did you guys ever eat those? The banquet boiling bags with the fucking Salisbury steak.
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes.
Potatoes. Oh.
I mean.
No, it was the Salisbury steaks. They just came in a bag and you would throw it in a pot of boiling water and had the gravy and the Salisbury steak.
Sounds good.
This is the poor food that I ate when I was a child.
I was like mac and cheese and pancakes.
Oh, yeah. You haven't lived until you've had a fucking Salisbury steak boiled in a bag.
Until you had a boiled MRE.
Actually, that might be better than an MRE.
Yeah, right.
No, but I can see Christians using this as justification for trying to further limit or trying to put further limits on access to abortion.
Oh, no matter what objection they make, it's going to be a restriction, of course. Yeah, they're going to object. It might take them a little while to figure out the whole abortion connection, but they'll get there.
Yeah. Well,
they will. You
right
must promptly put it in the abortion womb, or in the emergency womb.
that goes both ways. Emergency room, emergency womb.
Yeah, that's why I did that stupid fucking voice.
That's not stupid.
That's not my normal voice. I don't talk like Christians very often.
Matt, nothing we do here is stupid.
Not a habit I have. And I even fucked it up too.
But that does give them the other alternative, where right now it's saying, don't get an abortion.
This is adoption. We're starting this season out really strangely.
Well, it's the first episode where we're doing this new thing, so it's going to be there'll be some adjustment.
I'm just always weird.
Yeah, I just mean that there's Ryan all over the attitude of this show. the whole
that's good. That's good.
The whole energy is just fucking duffed up.
It's a good energy.
Makes me feel a little sticky. I don't know, what is that?
Well, I have a positive effect on pretty much everybody I'm around.
Well, in golf, if you're really bad, you're a duffer.
Yeah, and it also refers to your ass.
What?
Your duff.
Huh?
A duff is also an ass.
Yeah.
Oh, get off your duff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, what are you talking about? Golf refers to your ass? What?
No, just the duff.
Huh.
Anywho, Dr. Flake goes on to say that, quote, I don't view this as something that's going to replace mothers.
Mothers?
Technical and biological hurdles would prevent doctors from using an artificial womb to rescue premature babies younger than about 23 weeks, he says. In the United States, thousands of babies each year are born extremely premature before 28 weeks of pregnancy. Of those born at the edge of viability at 23 weeks, up to about 70% die. Many of the survivors have lung and other health problems, partly caused by efforts to keep them alive. Putting premature babies in ventilators to get oxygen into their bodies has mixed results. And the same treatment that is potentially saving their lives is also damaging their lungs. Like the real womb, the artificial one also bathed lambs in the fluid needed for proper lung development. Flake's team prevents the lambs from taking a breath because even a little air might harm lung development. Flake's version of the device may not be feasible for human babies for several technical reasons, however. One barrier is that the system requires a delicate fetal surgery to connect the umbilical cord to the incubator while the baby is still attached to the mother.
Ooh.
Few hospitals are equipped to perform such an operation, he says. And I say, well, at least currently. But I mean, if this technology really does... I mean, not that we need any more fucking humans around, but if it does prove to be a viable option for premature births, I'm sure hospitals, at least ones that are interested in actually, rather than doing religious work, actually doing life-saving work, they'll get equipped.
Well, it's just like heart surgeries. When that first started happening, it was like very specific. Only this hospital can do it. It's only on trials. Now heart surgeries are pretty much routine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's how it goes, as they learn more and technology catches up to what their needs are and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the bag was clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why it was weird. That's why it made me think
of a womb with a view.
God.
It is.
You set that all up. You should have just Googled it.
I've been sitting here fucking stewing about that for the past couple of minutes. Like, this is going to be great.
Well done.
Since it was a clear Ziploc looking bag, that's what instantly made me think of the Matrix.
That was so funny because you just jumped right. Like you didn't even, you're just like, was it a clear bag? Womb with a view.
I had to stomp all over that one.
Hi, this is Justin Schieber, formerly of the Reasonable Doubts podcast and currently of Real Atheology, and you are listening to the Godless Rebelution.
I was at the Vatican once and at the Pontifical Academy and lecturing to some theologians, and I said to them, and I wasn't being facetious, that they had to listen to me, but I didn't have to listen to them. Because in some sense, I think to have an honest and sensible theology, you have to be consistent with the laws of physics.
Right.
But I don't need to know anything about purpose or ultimate purpose of the universe to understand how it works.
In college, I was a philosophy major. Or was I? Who can say? Hard to tell. What's philosophy? It's a thing. Or is it? You guys get it. Or do you? Doesn't matter. Or does it? And we're closer to death.
I pulled this. I think it could be interesting discussion prompters, but I'm not expecting that there's going to be a whole lot of actual substance here that we'll find intriguing. But apparently George Dvorsky finds these to be the most intriguing arguments for the existence of God. We can just go through one or two right now or whatever. But
okay.
What's this guy's credentials? Is he
writes lists?
Okay. Oh, so he works for that website,
BuzzFeed.
BuzzFeed. Yeah.
It's not a BuzzFeed. I don't know.
Okay.
The first one, he says, the very notion of an all-perfect being means God has to exist.
No, it doesn't. The notion of a unicorn doesn't mean a unicorn has to exist.
Who's this fucking guy again?
George Dvorsky. So
he's basically saying if you think it, it's real.
Yeah. So this is a classic ontological or a priori argument. It was first articulated in 1070.
Yeah. Long fucking time ago when people thought other crazy shit.
And didn't know fucking anything. Okay. By Saint Anselm. By a saint? Another person that doesn't know fucking anything?
It might have just been an abbreviation for his first name.
Oh, yeah. Street, probably.
Yeah.
Anselm Street.
Yeah.
Anselm.
You don't know. Don't assume.
Who argued that because we have a conception of an all-perfect being, which he defined as that than which nothing greater can be conceived.
No, I can conceive of something greater.
It
I can
has to
conceive of
exist.
that person's, almighty person's father.
Why would that be greater?
Because he gave birth to him. He's bigger.
Whoa.
He's older.
Gods are weird.
They are.
The dads give birth?
So like the farther back you stretch along the history of the human timeline, we're just getting shittier and shittier going forward, right? The farther back you go, those were the greats.
Yeah.
And the farther we travel along the timeline of humanity,
You've
it's
heard
just
the music
worse
coming
and
out.
worse.
You've heard the music coming out right now. Is it getting better or shittier?
I haven't heard anything as bad as Nickelback that's new.
And
for
guess
a while.
what? They're still fucking playing.
Okay, point made.
But if you're going to give birth to a god, aren't you also a god yourself?
So, in his essay, Saint Anselm, the essay is titled, but I don't know how to it's unpronounceable. So,
one of the things I wrote down.
Saint Anselm conceived of God as a being who possesses all conceivable perfection. But if this being existed merely as an idea in our minds, then it would be less perfect than if it actually existed.
What?
So it wouldn't be as great as a being who actually existed, something that would thus contradict our definition of God.
So
a being who's supposed to be all perfect, thus God must exist. There.
So he's saying that since we can conceive of it, he must exist. But if what we can conceive of, it won't be perfect, so it's not it, because it is perfect. So what we are conceiving of is not it.
He's saying that the fact that we can think of such a thing
means
demonstrates it exists,
but he's also saying we can't think of something that's perfect.
Well, no, what he's saying is that something that actually exists is greater than just the thought of something.
Because
so
it
therefore
exists.
God
Okay, yeah.
exists.
But that seems circular because
it's
way
at
circular.
least circular. There's a lot of things wrong with it.
Well, because if we imagine that it exists, if we can imagine a being that is perfect, but then is made more perfect by actually existing,
means it exists.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense because then why would you have to imagine it in the first place? Does that make sense?
Yeah. You shouldn't, because it exists.
Well, also, how does being able to imagine something have anything to do with whether it's real or not?
Well, it doesn't.
No, I know, but I mean...
And many other theologians can argue with his definition of what this almighty God is amongst every religion and different sects of those religions.
Well, and define perfection for me.
Yeah. To me, perfection would be something that created us that wasn't giving us diseases and illnesses and we could all live happy and money wasn't a thing and we just could fucking be here and
the
eat
fact that there are imperfections
in us, in
a creation that was supposedly made or brought into being by a perfect being is itself a contradiction.
It's flawed.
A perfect being would be incapable of making flawed things, right?
That's how I would view it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He'd be incapable of messing up because he's perfect.
So apparently there's some island somewhere where there's like 500 ladies and 2 guys, and all 500 ladies want to just have sex with everybody, with you for a nickel, and the 2 guys just want to give you nickels.
I'll give them their nickel back.
That island exists somewhere. It's not, and so, and it has to because I thought of it, and the only way it could be better is if it really existed. So therefore, it does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we should probably find that.
Yeah, can we go on TripAdvisor right now and find this island?
Ryan's like, I'm gonna take some vacation time.
I've got some leave. I got some extra cash in the bank. I mean, I'm all ready for a trip. I'll get my passport
got a pocket
today.
full of nickels.
I think it's called 5 Cent Slot Island.
That sounds.
Oh, that was
5 Cent slot.
Really
their
horrible.
slots are loose on 5 Cent Slot Island. Little gambling humor for you.
Ugh.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But you didn't like my Nickelback joke I threw in there?
Wait, there was a Nickelback joke in there?
I said I'd throw my nickel back.
Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Isn't that a lyric of theirs?
I don't know. I don't listen to their shit.
Yeah.
So that's a weird argument.
That is.
And that's an interesting one to put at his first one of her most intriguing arguments for. I mean, I'm not
intriguing.
I'm not really shitting on the guy because I don't know anything about him. It's just a list I pulled up and I'm like, oh, that could be fun.
But if you don't think about stuff, if someone goes, oh yeah, that makes total sense.
I just don't think this is one of those things. I don't think. I think this one it's not intuitive. Like you hear it and you're like, that's not how things work.
Yeah, but like we said earlier, people think wrestling's real.
Well, what's next on his list?
Something must have caused the universe to exist.
Something. Okay.
Yeah, this is already starting out very strong.
Like just the fact that it had to exist?
Yeah, this is the classic first cause argument.
Yeah. Blech. Garbage.
Philosophers call this one the first cause argument or the cosmological argument. And early advocates of this line of reasoning included Plato, Aristotle, and St. Thomas Aquinas. Ugh. One of the great thinkers of the Middle Ages.
Yeah, that says a lot, right?
Yeah, the guy that also claimed to fly around the nave of Notre Dame Cathedral. That fucking wackadoodle.
Uh-huh.
All right. It's predicted on the assumption that every event must have a cause, and that cause in turn must have a cause, and on and on and on. So already they're locking themselves into a special pleading corner.
Yes, they are, because, I'll let you.
Yeah. I stopped myself too, because like, hello.
I'm like, I can already poke so many fucking holes in this.
Assuming there's no end to this regression of causes, infinite regression, this succession of events would be infinite. Oh, okay. But an infinite series of causes and events doesn't make sense. A causal loop cannot exist, nor a causal chain of infinite length. There's got to be some kind of first cause that...
An unmoved mover?
Yeah, that is itself uncaused. So there's the special pleading.
Yeah.
This would require some kind of unconditioned or supreme being, which the philosophers...
Why does it have to be a being?
Right. Why does there have to be an uncaused cause?
This is some William Lane Craig.
Yes, it is.
Bullshit.
It is. So basically what they're trying to, it's almost like and I'm sure they did if St. Thomas Aquinas is in this group. They started with God and worked backwards. How can we make him the original point, from all this? Because
with special rules.
Yeah, they are. That's what they're doing. They're creating it. Yeah. They've put this argument together and then at some point they realized they had an infinite regress and we're like, well, fuck. God doesn't need a cause.
It's not special pleading because it's just the case.
It's like, I
can hear fucking William Lane Craig in his whiny little voice doing that.
Like, how is it not just the case that the universe has always fucking been?
Yeah, so that's the thing. They've only moved it. They've only moved the argument a step back because why call it God? Why do we need to add all this extra stuff? If we have this situation as we see it, okay, let's say we do have a first cause. How do you get to God from that?
Yeah.
And Vilenkin says...
yeah.
It always reminds me, whenever I hear him doing that shit during debates, it reminds me of that little toy that everybody had when they were a kid with the different animals around it, and it had the arrow that would point to the different animals. And back in my day, there was a pull string on it, and then, you kids in heaven to have safety things. Now it's a big lever that you pull instead, where you point it to the animal, and then nowadays you pull the lever, and it's the cow says.
Oh.
But I know that's every time I watch a debate with William Lane Craig, that pops up in my mind because of the way he says that shit.
That's interesting.
But I do gotta wonder if we'll ever see past the event horizon of our universe.
No, we can't.
Yeah.
I know we can't, but if they found a way to do, like right now we can't. It's an impossibility with...
Well, it would be an impossibility. Space is expanding at an ever-increasing rate.
True. And that's one thing I was watching, I can't remember, what was his name? I was listening to talk the other
Lawrence
day.
Krauss?
Yeah, it's Lawrence Krauss when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, when he blew Joe Rogan's mind. I was like, holy shit. There's like, there
There's
is stuff
a lot
faster
of things
than the
that
speed.
blow Joe
True.
Rogan's mind.
But it's funny when it blows his mind. He's like, what? What? No, that's me. Because I was doing that. When he was talking about, the fact that there are things faster than the speed of light.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
the space itself
The
is
space
faster
itself
than
is
the
faster than the speed of light. So he's like, so we'll never be able to see beyond that because it's faster than the light.
Wait, so does that mean
expanding faster?
Yeah,
than
it's
the speed of
expanding
light.
faster than the light will be able to reach back to us.
So those planets and stars out there are moving with the fabric of space-time beyond the speed of light?
So the fabric of space-time is moving faster than the speed of light. So you'll never be able to see the space itself.
Right, and everything contained therein, I assume.
Uh-huh.
So those planets and stars are moving faster than the speed of light.
Nope.
No.
Okay.
No.
Just
the
the
space.
Perfect sense.
They are moving, but the space it's like putting
it's like a surfer. I think he was a surfer. It's like the wave might be moving faster than the guy riding the wave. Or it's like the water's moving faster than the guy riding the wave. The wave is space and the guy is the planet.
True?
Is what true?
That the wave moves, the water underneath the surfer moves faster than the surfer?
I know. I thought I heard him. He was trying to say
I can't
something
remember
like
what
that.
analogy
I thought
he used, but-
for some reason I thought that was the analogy he was trying to use, saying like the water underneath the surfer is moving faster.
But I mean, you can imagine a boat in a toy boat in a big tub, right? Where you're moving water.
Toy boat.
Yeah.
Where you're moving water away from it. The water itself is just the material that is holding that boat in place. The boat doesn't have to move at the same speed as the material underneath or around it. Does that make sense?
And if you push water, the water's going to move faster and it's going to drag the boat a little bit with it.
Right. But the boat itself doesn't have to move as fast as the water.
Yeah.
Because it's not tied to that underlying matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's not tied, galaxies and planets and everything aren't tied to the matter around them.
Yeah.
That's just where they happen to exist.
And since we can only see the light that returns and the space around it is expanding faster, we'll never be able to see beyond the edge of that space.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point in the distant future, we'll not be able to see anything outside our own galaxy. So,
but that's where I wonder, if
we live in very interesting times. That's great.
If is that space considered dark matter?
We live in a time where we can observe. Soon we're not going to be able to observe these things. That's really cool.
Well, not in our time, but in about another billion years.
Well, yeah. But
oh yeah,
it wasn't too long ago that we couldn't see
it
out
at all.
Space and
I mean,
witness and realize these things. Now we can, and we can realize that there will come a day when we won't be able to do that anymore.
Yeah. What our first satellites we put up to actually see stuff in outer space was late 70s? Well, no, 70s was Voyager 1, went up in like 74 or something.
I have no idea.
And I thought it was...
Did you love the 70s?
Early 80s when the first telescopes
70s.
went up.
I thought you were in the bathroom for that whole thing. Most of it?
Maybe I listened to the show.
Maybe you came in. No, I haven't released that bit yet. Have I? Did I put the 70s thing out? I don't think I did.
I don't know.
I think I've reserved that as part of a special Patreon deal.
Oh. Well, pardon me.
That people who are patrons of the show will have access.
They can't wait to hear Dan's opinions on the 70s.
We did our own version of that 70s show.
This is Danielle Moscato, civil rights activist, trans woman extraordinaire, and public speaker. You are listening to Godless Rebelution, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Why don't you take something away from people, from 95, that gives meaning to 95% of the American people, and replace it with something that gives meaning to just 5% of the American people?
Well, what an incredibly stupid question. First, I've said repeatedly that this stuff cannot be taken away from people. It is their favorite toy, and it will remain so. As Freud said in The Future of Illusion, it will remain that way as long as we're afraid of death and have no problem, which is, I think, likely to be quite a long time. Second, I hope I've made it clear that I'm perfectly happy for people to have these toys. and to play with them at home and hug them to themselves and so on and share them with other people who come around and play with the toys. So that's absolutely fine. They are not to make me play with these toys. Okay? I will not play with the toys. Don't bring the toys to my house. Don't say my children must play with these toys. Don't say my toys might be a condom. Here we go again. I'm not allowed by their toys. I'm not going to have any of that. Enough with clerical and religious bullying and intimidation. Is that finally clear? Have I got that across? Thank you.
Rejoining the Godless Rebelution podcast now.
Let's do some logical fallacies, shall we?
Okay.
We've done some of these before, but it's way back, so...
I mean, we got our whole wall.
Yeah, we got a wall, our poster. So I'll just go... I have an alphabetical-ish list of common fallacies.
Okay.
So we start with ad hominem, which is like all over the internet.
Well, it's one that people get confused all the time. And I have been guilty of saying something was an odd
hominem?
It was an odd hominem.
That's me.
And it really wasn't. No, I've in the past, before I really figured out what an ad hominem was, I've accused somebody of using an ad hominem attack or fallacy when in fact they were not.
So this defines it as or that ad hominem translates as to the man and refers to any attack.
Sexist bullshit.
Whoa, man.
Mm-hmm. Ad hominem a woman. Refers to any attacks on the person's advancing the argument rather than on the validity of the evidence or logic. It's one thing to say that I don't agree with you, but it's another to say that I don't like you, and you're wrong because I don't like you. Evil people often make valid claims, and good people often make invalid claims. So separate the claim from the person. Like the emotional appeal, the validity of the argument has utterly nothing to do with the character of those presenting it. Ad hominem attacks are the meat and potatoes of political campaigns. But this is because we are, in fact, debating over who to vote for. Once the votes have been cast, however, we do well to focus on the logic and evidence, not those speaking the argument. So, example would be, Saddam can't have WMDs because George Bush said he does and he's a liar. Saddam must have WMDs because the UN can't find them. What? Does that make sense?
No.
Say that one again.
Saddam must have WMDs because the UN can't find them.
Because he has them. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That one seems weird. Like you would have to stretch that out to think that clearly if the UN can't find them,
then
it's because they're a bunch of incompetent nincompoops. So if they can't find them, it must mean that they actually exist. One
I don't know about that one.
That one seems
I would
like a
say
bad example.
If the UN went and looked for something and don't find it, it means it ain't fucking there.
Yeah, that's a really terrible example.
I thought it was going to be something about, he's such a bad guy. He must have WMDs, you know what I mean? But it didn't really. Okay, this next one's better. Who cares if the French oppose invading Iraq? They haven't won a war in centuries.
That's where the glass boat thing came from.
Cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Say that one again.
Who cares if the French oppose invading Iraq? They haven't won a war in centuries.
That seems more like a non sequitur.
Or just trying to insult France for not having a war to fight.
Yeah, that seems like another poor example. I think
that one,
the two aren't really.
I think that one counts.
Yeah. I mean, it could, but it's still.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't serve as a good, if you're trying to establish what an ad hominem is and you're using the last two examples that are given here, I can see why so many people would be confused as to what they are.
That one works for me. I mean, you're shitting on their military for not winning, and you're using that as a way to say that their argument for opposing the invasion of Iraq is invalid.
Because they wouldn't win.
Yeah, they don't know anything about war because they suck at it. So therefore, if they oppose the Iraq war, who fucking cares? We should go do it. Okay, Dan doesn't like that one.
Yeah,
I think
it's better than the one prior.
Yeah, I can't even make sense of that one. But so Saddam can't have WMDs because George Bush said he does, and he's a liar. That one works for you?
That one works for me.
It's attacking the person.
Yeah, because you're saying that A cannot be true because of something unrelated to the facts surrounding A. You're simply going after the person making the assertion or making the claim.
That's the same in the third one too. But that's why it sounds like a non sequitur.
Well, it's like attacking,
and it may be also a non sequitur.
Yeah.
They're not exclusive.
Would attacking Ted Cruz because his father was the Zodiac killer and also part of the Kennedy assassination be a good one?
Yes. Yeah, Ted Cruz would be a bad leader because he's poor at hiding his identity as the Zodiac killer.
And his dad killed Kennedy.
And his wife is hideous. Oh, wait, Heidi. Heidi is what her name is.
Hey, Heidi. He attacked Heidi and my beautiful daughters. You keep them out of this.
It's like George Bush Sr.
That was very Bushian, yes.
Is he dead yet?
He's on his way out. He looked
like he was.
Yeah, because I saw that photo with him and his
television.
and it was there's a photo of him and his son.
Yeah, he looks
George Jr.
dead already.
Yeah, he wasn't looking good. And I saw the one photo with him and Clinton together, and Clinton ain't looking too good nowadays either.
He's still got.
She looks pretty bad, huh?
Some mojo.
The Billy Clinton.
Oh.
It was all the living presidents are all going to go visit him right now. It seems like when the other living presidents are coming to visit a dying president, it's not a good sign.
Somebody gave them all a call and said, "He's seeing dead relatives. Come and say your final goodbyes."
He said George Washington visited him last night. Lincoln's coming tomorrow.
He keeps having imaginary conversations with Ronnie.
And you know what happens when dead presidents visit soon-to-be dead presidents?
Then the soon-to-be dead president is
will
going
be dead.
To be dead soon.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Bring out your dead.
Should we do one more?
Yes.
Fallacy. Okay. The affirming the consequence fallacy. This is a fairly difficult fallacy to understand or spot.
Great. Affirming the consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is categorical in nature and essentially means reversing an argument or putting the cart before the horse, meaning reversing or confusing the general category with the specific subcategory. Note that in this fallacy, the premises or reasons are actually correct and or valid. The error is found between the premises and conclusion.
Fantastic.
It's not too tough when you see the examples, actually. Usually the error occurs because we incorrectly assume that the premise was a sufficient condition, when in fact it was only a necessary condition, one of many conditions necessary to prove the conclusion. So in order for it to be valid, it has to be necessary and sufficient. So in this case, it's not sufficient. It's just necessary. So
what if it was sufficient but not necessary?
Then it's also invalid.
Can that be a thing? Can you be sufficient but not necessary?
I would just consider that to be an extra.
Sufficient. Yeah, good enough, but not needed.
Yeah, it's like it's not needed for this argument, but it still proves my point.
Well, how can it be good enough if it's not needed in the first place?
I don't know.
Huh.
It's like a pinch hitter.
So examples of affirming the consequence would be premise. Ducks are birds. Premise. Ducks swim in water. Premise. Chickens are birds. Conclusion. Chickens swim in the water.
So it's the Holy Grail argument.
Yeah.
With the witch.
Yep.
Well, their premises were flawed in that. In the arguments about her being a witch in the Holy Grail.
Yeah, but if a witch... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The whole thing's flawed, but if a witch floats...
I got it, yeah.
A duck floats and wood floats.
And this is not my nose.
Yeah.
It's a false one.
So in this example, the fallacy is that not all birds swim in water, obviously. Swimming is neither a necessary nor sufficient condition to be...
To determine if something is a bird.
Yeah, to be the thing, bird. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not that hard. Like if someone was... I actually could imagine this would be really difficult to spot in a more complex... Like nobody's going to say, chickens are birds, therefore they swim. Like, that's obviously not true. I mean, it works well for the example, but if this was like in a complex conversation, That would be fucking hard to see, I bet. Let's do another example.
Well, yeah,
of
as
that
you're
too.
rambling stuff off.
Yeah.
And...
Like a loon can't take off from land.
Okay.
Did you know that?
Can it land from takeoff?
No, it was actually kind of...
I like watching your expression more than anything.
It was actually kind of sad because a bunch of loons died here.
I could see it just spreading in waves of wrinkles across your forehead.
Because I'm bald. No, a bunch of loons ended up dying in Utah 4 or 5 years ago. Because they thought that the little bit of like the quarter inch of water out on the salt flats was a body of water, and they landed in it, and they couldn't take off. Because the loon's body weight's all forward, so it actually doesn't really stand up on its back legs. It can't stand up for long, so it basically, if it goes on land, it's basically on its chest. So when it landed in the salt flats, it couldn't get back up and fly again.
So could they only be on water or in the air?
Pretty much.
Not on land. Huh. That's loony.
It is. Maybe that's why they're called loons. Like, you can't go on land, you fucking loony.
They really, you really only, you see.
When you see them on land, if they're on it, they're doing like a chest bump. Like they'll push themselves with their back legs, and they're on their chest pretty much the whole time.
It's loony.
Yeah, Minnesota's penguins.
But penguins are cool.
Loons are cool.
They make cool noises.
All right, so here's another example of the affirming the consequence fallacy. Premise: you loved The Matrix.
I did, indeed. It's a great movie.
But not the third one.
Premise: Keanu Reeves is in The Matrix.
Yeah.
Premise: Keanu Reeves is in Speed. Conclusion: you love Speed.
True.
Well,
one or two.
It helps me get through the day in a hurry.
Crystal Speed.
That's a good example.
I did like John Wick.
Yeah, so
I haven't seen number 2 yet.
I haven't seen it either. I need to see it yet. That's why I said John Wick.
The first one is really good.
Yeah.
And here's a third example, and this one is actually relevant, fairly relevant, because this is something that we heard over and over and over again from the right.
Oh, I thought you were looking at me weird. Like, what did I do?
Oh, no, not this time. Premise: Obama wants nationalized health care. Premise: the Nazis had nationalized health care. Yeah. Conclusion:
Obama's a Nazi.
National health care will make us all Nazis. Or, Obama is a Nazi.
Well, for one, we're not in Germany.
Doesn't matter. Health care. So national health care is not a sufficient reason to define the category of Nazism any more than does swims in water define the category for birds.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, with the exception of the USA, every country that fought against the Nazis now has nationalized healthcare.
Yeah.
Editor's note: Obama does not, in fact, want to nationalize healthcare.
Which, ironically, nationalized healthcare came out after World War II.
And a Hitler innovation, perhaps.
It might have just been to be honest, the U.S. was one of the few countries which wasn't completely devastated and bombed during World War II.
Yeah, yet we had the worst recovery period out of any of the countries that were, except for maybe Poland, which still sends their immigrants to Spike and Dan.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Thank you to everybody who has rated the show on iTunes and Stitcher and are following us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And to all our Patreon patrons, you make the show possible.
My name is Dr. Karen Garst. I am the author of Women Beyond Belief, Discovering Life Without Religion. I also have a blog at www.faithlessfeminist.com. You can find me on Facebook at Faithless Feminist, and Twitter, I'm at Karen_Garst. And you are listening to the Godless Rebelution.
This is a point I've made before, and I don't think it's original with me. I think other people have made it, but my claim is that if Trump were 1/10 as bad, he would appear much worse, because like everything he does is appearing against a background of so many lies and so much craziness that you can barely even weight its value.
From the White House
to the pews,
this is Rebel News. Our buddy Roy Moore is back in the news.
We need Roy less. Am I right, guys? Am I
right? Yeah, we need a lot less of this guy for sure. He's the Jew. This comes to us from
He's the Jew.
Hemant Mehta at the Friendly Atheist blog says that Roy Moore, the judicial activist who routinely acts like the Bible matters more than the Constitution when it comes to legal issues, and he announced today that he would run for the U.S. Senate. Which is going to be exciting. It's going to be great. He wants the seat that once belonged to Jeff Sessions.
Jefferson Beauregard. Sessions.
Well, they both belong to the same clan, so.
Yeah.
Jeff Sessions is now serving as the Attorney General and is temporarily being held by Luther Strange. That makes no sense at all.
Oh, no. We got to save him. Jeff Sessions is being held by Luther Strange. Wait, is this a fucking Marvel thing that I don't know about?
Oh, yeah, Luther.
Okay, I totally fucked that up. Let me try this again. He wants the seat that once belonged to Jeff Sessions, now the Attorney General, and is temporarily being held by Luther Strange. That's still very awkward wording.
Yeah, it is. The seat is being held by Luther Strange.
Interim until the next election.
The primaries for this off-cycle seat will take place on August 15th, with the general election happening on December 12th. Quote, "I'll stand for the rights and liberties of the people."
Some people.
Moore said to reporters gathered at the state capitol. This is my favorite. You're going to love it.
No, we're not.
My position has always been God first, family, then country.
So you have absolutely no business in a position of public office.
Correct. If God is your first priority, become a fucking pastor or minister.
Yeah. Yep. And family's his second, then country. No, sorry.
Yeah, that should be disqualifying for somebody who's running for a public office position.
Yep. Especially with his version of God.
I share the vision of President Donald Trump to make America great again.
Oh, God.
We can make America great again. We've got to make America good again.
Wait. Now he's settling? He's already settling?
Yeah. No, I'm guessing that the Make America Good Again is a reference to his religious beliefs.
Yeah. Oh,
we've strayed too far, right?
Morally good.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
We've strayed too far from God's teachings. We need to get back to good, like the good book tells us.
Right. Back when we were racist, sexist, homophobes.
Yes.
Yeah. Sure.
As for which rights and liberties he will stand for, we have no idea.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We know full well.
Yeah, we do. With him, the answer usually depends on which religion you are. Moore, as you might recall, was recently suspended for the second time from the state's Supreme Court, where he served as Chief Justice after he told probate judges they didn't have to issue same-sex marriage licenses.
But how does he get a second time in there? Oh, that's right. Dipshits fucking voted him back
for
in.
him,
Yeah.
Which is why I say he's got a good chance to get the Senate. They'll vote this dipshit back into the fucking office.
Oh, yeah.
He's been kicked out of it.
Yeah. And somehow, makes no sense. Democrats can't even get together long enough to fucking stop Donald Trump from getting into the Oval Office, but Alabama can pool all 7 of their IQ points to vote this fucking guy in.
Oh,
God damn it, Democrats.
The United States Supreme Court has already ruled that those licenses are legal and that government officials can't get in the way of that. He also made headlines more than a decade ago when he installed a 10 Commandments monument in the state courthouse in the dead of night and refused to remove it.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that a man who holds such contempt for the Constitution wouldn't have a chance in a Senate election, but this is Alabama.
Yes.
Moore has a lot of name recognition in the state.
Yes.
That makes him a tough candidate to beat.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was possible for Sessions to be replaced by someone whose views are even more despicable than his, but leave it to Alabama to find a way.
Yep. This is
the Alabama way.
Roll Tide.
This is the more aggressive twin of Jeff Sessions.
Roll Tide of bigotry and injustice.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. Something to look forward to.
I don't know how exciting it is.
Well, it's gonna be a shit show.
Man, I mean, we keep kind of waiting for this pendulum swing to come back, but it just seems like this time it's really just pushing hard right. It's still swinging hard right.
Well, and like you mentioned, a lot of that is because people who are opposed to assholes like this are too busy fighting with each other over ridiculous fucking nonsense. Well, you said this that I could be taken out of context and it hurts my feelings and so I hate you now. And I will never work with you, and I'm going to talk about that exclusively or devote so much fucking time to that I'm not concentrating on assholes like Roy Moore.
Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, we're on the same fucking team. Just because someone didn't throw the ball to you doesn't mean you gotta have a fucking hissy fit.
I see atheists arguing with each other more than they argue with theists these days. That's so fucking disheartening.
I wonder if there's going conspiracy theory here.
Mm-hmm.
Secret undercover theists.
Russians have infiltrated the atheist community as bots online and are making comments as people who are wanting to choose fights with other atheists.
I wasn't going to go that far. I was just going to say Christians are joining atheist groups and becoming very formidable atheists. That way they can get the atheists to argue with each other.
I almost went and named some names there. I was like, oh, that's a bad idea.
Because you just said not to do that shit.
Yeah, don't fucking do that shit. Anyway.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
In particular.
Uh-huh.
Matt's favorite cross cap cap wearing with a cross on it.
Holy shit, you got a fucking David Smalley sigh out of me from this.
I still want to get that hat and put an upside down cross on it.
You could probably, I wonder
custom
if it's,
hats.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just embroidered on there.
Yeah, I think
if it's embroidered onto the hat itself or if it's like a patch that's just sewn on.
It looks like it's embroidered.
Yeah, it's just a custom order thing.
Because if it were a patch, then you could just unstitch it from the hat, flip it over, and sew it on again.
But you know what I'd really hate? If I custom ordered an embroidered hat with an upside down cross on it, and they're like, "Oh, he put that the wrong way. Let's fix that.
We're gonna fix that for you."
And I get it, and it's the wrong way up from the way I wanted it, and I'm like, "No, you fucking asshole."
Well, then you can contact them, tell them they fucked up the order. More than likely, they would say, well, they may have you return the hats. A lot of the time, they would just say, okay, we'll keep the hats. We'll fix the order, send you some new ones. And then you'll have like this whole box full of hats that you could burn Dave Daubenmire in effigy.
True.
Wait, are you going to be ordering a box full of these?
I was only planning on ordering one.
Yeah.
You order one? Expensive one hat.
How many hats can I wear at a time?
Yeah.
Is that what you do? When you buy stuff online, you're just like, give me a box of those.
Well, you order stuff for like the atheist booth.
Yeah, I order stuff for atheists of Utah and other things. So it's
I guess that makes sense.
I order and the more you order, the cheaper it is per unit. So
if you can get some of those hats for the booth.
And I say I order. I've placed maybe one or two orders. It's all fucking Tracy. Yeah. Tracy does all that shit. She's awesome. You guys have no idea how much shit she does in the background.
We know.
Yeah.
They don't.
No. But crosscap guy.
Dave Daubenmire.
All right.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that's going on around us. I want you to know it don't sound right.
Yeah, it's you.
And only the Holy Spirit can fine-tune us. Only the Holy Spirit will enable us to see things that others cannot see. And I want to show you a couple things. See, we're being set up.
I love this. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say, I want to show you something that sounded like he would be saying that to somebody from the back of a windowless van.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I want to show you something.
I love this whole idea of obviously we know that this guy believes it. I'm sure he does, but we know that people are putting these various attributes out there and giving it to these nothingnesses, like he's saying, only the Holy Spirit can fine tune us. And, and now he's going into this so perfectly human thing about, I see what's going on. You guys are idiots. I see what's happening. And only the Holy Spirit can tell. Now he's saying that he's so much more acutely aware of everything that's going on about all these idiots. Yeah. And that's the Holy Spirit that's doing that. Guess what, buddy? Every fucking human thinks they know better than everybody else.
Well, I do.
Everybody thinks that.
I don't?
Yeah,
and everybody
in Ryan's case, it's true, but
everybody but you is a terrible driver, and every driver thinks that.
Yeah.
Remember, scriptures tell us that if it were possible, Roger, the
scriptures say Roger?
Yes.
I don't remember seeing that anywhere in any of the scriptures.
And Wilco.
It's like Zechariah 10:3. And if it be possible.
Roger. Over and out.
Oh, wait. Wait, did I say it was Zechariah 10:4? I should have.
The very elect themselves would be deceived if it were possible. So it must be possible.
What?
Wait.
Go back.
It may not be possible, buddy.
Is he just covering one of the fallacies we talked about earlier?
And also, what are the elect? Let me go out on a limb here. You're one of them. Aren't you, buddy? You're one of them.
So it must be possible. And I want to show you something, how they're sneaking up on us. Hey, Jared, just scroll down.
They're sneaking up on us.
Yep, and so he just said us. So he's an elect.
They're sneaking up on us, but they must be doing a really shitty job of sneaking up on people.
His screen had their Google Hangout URL pop up on it.
Oh, yeah, you can go to his website and join his thing. Yeah.
I thought it was
it's scheduled, and you can join, and that's why you have all of these random dummies.
Let's join.
Down here
for
at
a
the bottom.
show, just join his
Let's
thing.
Join.
On it. Hey, Jared, just scroll down there. I want to point out. I'm not going to open these links up. Just scroll on down it, Jared, and I want to show you Steve Quayle. This is a great website to visit, by the way. I go here every morning. Keep going on down, Jared. He has stories that are always listed. Here we go. Stories that are always listed catch my eye. So let's just stay there a minute. Stay right there, Jared. You don't have to click on it.
Yeah, stay right there, Jared, because some of these headlines are pretty interesting. Gotham Shield commences what happens now, intriguing timing surrounding a new military drill in the United States called Operation Gotham Shield has sparked concerns and brought back the infamous false flag watch.
Oh,
wow.
Unearthing the lost world of the Cloud Eaters?
We're not fantasizing about the collapse of society, we're just getting ready for it.
Compelling evidence of the incursions of giants.
Wow.
Europe crop losses, record snow and cold with more in May.
You got Trump.
So clearly there's no climate change.
No. 16 individuals pulling giant carcass with ropes.
Then we got active volcanoes.
Yeah,
prophetic words
there's
given
a bunch
to
of fun
Steve
stuff.
over the years. Who the fuck is Steve, and why does he get all the prophetic words?
Prophetic words given to Steve over the years. Who's your prophet?
Steve. He's at the bar.
The thing is, like, these guys are so far to the right that they got to find sites like this to even talk about anything that lines up with what they believe. You know, and they're so unskeptical that they have no idea what's.
Yeah, it's a bunch of credulous dipshits sitting in a room scouring the internet for shit that confirms what they want to believe.
Yeah.
Or just writing fake news.
Yeah, and they find these fucking corny gumbo sites that are just packed full of flashing stuff and so cheap looking.
He probably made this website. That's why he goes there every morning. He's got to put up his new fake shit.
This guy's a fucking Christian bro. He doesn't make websites.
Well, look here. Click on that one, Jared. Or at least highlight that like you were doing. No, back up, man. Go back up to the top. There it is. Daily Mail. Go down the one below. Right there. Daily Mail. Here it comes. Have aliens lived on Earth?
Nope.
Ancient technological species may have, this is from the Daily Mail, may have existed on our planet billions of years before humans, scientists claim. You get what they're doing? Do you get what they're doing here? Do you understand?
Is he going to go ancient aliens on us?
I think he's going ancient aliens on us.
Is he? I think he's going to say that billions of years is bullshit.
I wasn't even thinking along that line.
Oh.
Understand what's going on? They're setting us up for the appearance of these, I believe, extra-dimensional beings.
Oh, shit, he is.
What's a Bing?
Extra.
It's Microsoft's thing.
Yeah. It's
the extra-dimensional Bings.
Yeah. You find photos on it.
That are going to come as our rescuers, the ones who are going to rescue the world, and the very elect himself, if it's possible, would be deceived. Now, you don't have to open that up, but if you want to, you can go there, you can find out, man, that is unbelievable, huh?
Yeah, yeah, totally and completely unbelievable.
Yeah, starting with the first two words, Daily Mail.
Yeah, and I can't believe that aliens would go from raping us in the butt with probes to saving us.
Yeah, that's hard to believe, isn't
And
it?
killing our cows. And making circles in our crop fields. They kill all of our crops, they stick probes in your butt, they kill your cattle, and now they want to save you.
Well, maybe
sounds like a god to me.
Maybe on their planet they just mow their lawns in circles and they were trying to help on our farms.
But what's
you don't know.
What's with the probing and cow killing?
A species so advanced it can travel the light years it would take to get here to Earth.
To shove something in your butt.
To shove something in your ass.
And trick Christians. The very elect, even, if they could be tricked. This is a fucking fantasy
Now,
novel.
let's go. There's another one, Jared. Look, go down to part 4. Unearthing the lost world of cloud eaters. Look at this.
What the fuck is a cloud eater? Does he even know what a cloud is?
We read those as a joke, and he's literally, he's actually going to, I quit the show. I quit the fucking show right now.
All right, let's hear what the cloud eater's got to say.
Evidence of the incursions of giants. The extraordinary technology and imminent return. This is an article. Click on that, Jared, if you can, real quick.
Oh, we're going
Folks,
to it.
If you can figure out how to operate a mouse, Jared, you fucking troglodyte.
I like that he's wearing a t-shirt, which I can only assume is Hillary for prison.
Yeah.
But all we can see in his fucking
Hillary.
cam is Hillary.
Folks, listen. See, I got my stethoscope's working. I said, wait a minute, where'd this come from? Where'd this come from all of a sudden? And what they're talking about is unearthing the lost world of the cloud eaters. The cloud eaters were the giants. Folks, this kind of stuff is now falling into mainstream thought, mainstream media.
No, it's really not. I don't even know what fucking weird-ass website this is. It is not mainstream.
No.
And why would they have to call them, why didn't they just call them giants instead of cloud eaters?
Because they're dumb.
Mainstream science, and we're not
pause
catching.
it. I knew he was going to say that next. No, fuck you, Dave. Fuck you. You don't get to say that it falls into mainstream science. You don't accept fucking science. And why do you care that all of a sudden now, when you get to use it for credibility for your stupid fucking conspiracy website, all of a sudden now it's beneficial to say that it's falling into mainstream science? No, fuck you, Dave. You don't get to do that. Science doesn't want you anyway.
Mainstream science, and we're not catching up with it. And all that stuff that L.A. Marzulli and that Russ Dizdar talk about. Russ talks about the MK Ultras and satanic ritually abused children, all that kind of stuff.
All that fucking nonsense
is right before our face.
Fuck you, Daubenmire.
I don't think my blood pressure can handle this guy every week. I fucking hate when Christians do that. They complain about science. They whine about it because reality is left leaning, and they object to science in almost every way, except for when they find some obscure website, and then they forget that they hate science, and all of a sudden they're just like, oh, yeah, this is science backs us up on this. So it's fallen into mainstream science. Our beliefs are scientific. No, you don't get to have it both ways.
And is it actually science? There's a lot of
course it's not.
Well, yeah, because there's a lot of websites out there and publications that claim to be peer-reviewed publications. And I was watching a guy was doing a talk on them. He goes, "Here, we submitted these articles to this. They say nothing, but yet they were admitted to this website, this publication as being certified science and peer-reviewed and true." It's like, no, we said nothing in these. It's a jumble of words that means absolute shit. Yet you're accepting this as peer-reviewed science and publishing it. This means your publications are bullshit.
I read the headline. That's all I really need to do, right? Yeah.
So it's getting to a point where not only do you have to, if you look at a peer-reviewed study, you have to look at who's putting out the peer-reviewed study to make sure it's from an actual notable peer-reviewed group.
If you have questions, comments, concerns, compliments, corrections, criticisms, or concepts for content, contact the show via email at godlessrebelution@gmail.com, by text or voicemail at 330-81-REBEL, or Twitter the twatter at TGR Podcast. Thank you!
I think we played Rick Joyner last week, didn't we?
I think so.
We have another fun clip from him this week.
I'm going to end up dislocating my vocal cords.
He says recent power outages were a warning from God about the dangers of an EMP attack.
Oh, okay.
My power didn't go out.
More Christians with superpowers.
Well, my power didn't go out at all. So is this just a regional thing or is this a worldwide thing?
Well, and it's funny too that like they're using he's again using science, right?
Yeah.
We know what an EMP
sort of,
is.
yeah.
Electromagnetic pulse. He can't just say that it's, magic. He has to try to fit it within the frame of science.
Yeah, I love that. I love that they do that. When it's not in conflict with the Bible, they use it all the time. They constantly using it for this faux credibility that they want to have.
Now, what happened to San Francisco, New York, and L.A.?
When?
Last week.
Okay.
And all of them had disrupted power grids. Not the whole cities, but sections of their city.
Yeah, that's normal.
Now, what that could have been is something else that we should be aware of. It could have been a...
Are you kidding me?
What it could have been, I'm just going to throw it out here, what it could have been.
I guarantee you, if you spent 2 fucking minutes, you could find out what the actual reason is.
It could have been a storm. It could have been excess demand on the power grid. It could have been a dumb drunk guy in the building hitting the wrong switch.
You would hear the scare quotes official story.
Yeah.
Cyber attack. It could have been somebody hacking into those systems.
Please tell me how that works.
Every single day, many times a day, sometimes 1,000 times a day to get into our electrical grid systems. They're trying to get into everything they can. We're doing the same to them. Guess what? So somebody could have gotten in. Somebody could have found a way in and hit us. It's never been explained what it was. Let me tell you what I think it was, though, that was more likely than that.
What?
Even though we've got people trying to do that to us all the time.
I know.
Remember last week, if you read the news, or the week before, about this incredible hole in our sun.
I saw it.
Okay. A hole in the sun?
I'm just going along with the stories.
I have to do a little bit of helping follow my train of thought because I'm trying to keep track of certain words he's saying, and he's gonna lose everybody if I wait until he actually comes out with what he's gonna finish on because he's taking so fucking long to get to his point.
Can we get to a point where there's not actually a hole in the sun?
But just if you need to verify, fine, hit your 15 seconds back or whatever. He said he has an answer that's more likely, even though this has happened before. The outages, the hacking.
Yep.
And he said that it's up to at least 1,000 a day sometimes. But whatever he's going to say is more likely than the thing that is definitely happening and sometimes 1,000 times a day.
Yes.
Whatever it is, it's more likely than that.
Yes.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited.
I have no idea where this is going.
Which looks like a hole, but it was really a massive storm emitting incredible
but it looked like a hole
with these, radiation and powerful radiation surges.
Happens weekly.
With these, radiation and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
At
surges.
All. It's like, all the sun does is really emit radiation at us, but our atmosphere blocks most of it up. Well, it's not our atmosphere. It's our magnetic.
Who the fuck ties this guy's shoes for him before he leaves the house?
Here's what I want to.
It's Velcro. Come on.
Here's what I want to know about guys like this and Daubenmire and Brian Fisher. Do they do this for accessibility and mass appeal? Because who the fuck turns this guy on and goes, "Oh yeah, that's a great point." Fucking write it down. God, write it down. He's trying to think of what he wants to say on the spot. And he sounds like a fucking idiot.
Now, I know you said you know where he's going, but I think he's going to go with the solar flares next, which he probably has negated to talk about the fact that
he did mention the sun.
Our power grid has been built to, hey, we have a thing called solar flares that happen. Let's make sure our power grid can withstand these fucking things.
That are electric magnetic pulses, electromagnetic.
Magnetic pulses.
Are they really? No, are they just...
They're electromagnetic pulses. He's telling us what it is, but he doesn't even know what it is that he's trying to tell us that it is.
Yeah, he's just stating what the abbreviations stand for.
Incorrectly.
Yeah, how does this guy not fall down?
Electromagnetic pulses. You know, if our country got hit with one from the sun, like the one that hit the eastern coast of the U.S. and Canada in 1860,
when we didn't have a power grid,
probably shut down our entire grid.
No.
Electrical grid. That came from the sun. No enemy from the sun. Now, we didn't have an electrical grid in 1860. What we did have, it was seriously damaged.
Stop him for 1 second.
We understood the power.
How does he know we had an a big burst in radiation in 1860?
I don't know.
Well, he wasn't there to see it, but he must be trusting all the studies from the soil samples and rock samples from the radiation that was in them from that time, and the ice core samples that had excess radiation in them.
The stuff that the scientists would have researched
that dug up and they did all the
him.
radiometric dating.
Yeah, and the same things that tell us how old the Earth is.
Yeah,
that
and
he clearly accepts.
Yeah, and they found around the year 1860 there was a big bump in it, so we figured, that was a large solar storm that year. But he's accepting that as truth. I'm taking it right now that in 1860 those solar storms happened, and we dated it with our dating technology.
Power of this. So the threat from EMP can be from natural sources. Now, I believe we're being protected. I do believe God is watching out for us.
No,
we would have been hit, destroyed long ago. By
who got destroyed when that solar storm hit us? No one.
So where was God during the times that he just said fucking happened?
He was worried about starting the Dust Bowl.
All kinds of things that are flying around in space, any one of which could have wiped us out. And it seems like every day we survive them.
No.
How do we make it through another day if we weren't being kept? We're being kept. I don't think the Lord is going to let the sun do that to us right now. But I think
the sun don't give a fuck about us.
So here's a question.
This guy is aggressively fucking stupid.
He should research Mars.
He's the biggest. So, Miss, what is he? A pastor Joyner?
I don't know. I need to do a know thine enemy on this.
Small thing, little thing. If God is protecting us from all the nastiness that the sun emits, why did he make the sun out of fucking nuclear fusion?
Yeah, why would he create something
that he has to protect us from?
It's just making more work for himself.
Yeah, he just puts that out there in the middle of it and then puts all these little fucking white-haired morons that are going to say, oh, yeah, God is protecting us from this thing he built that's trying to hurt us.
I mean, he doesn't even think about the fact that, I said research Mars because Mars at one time had a atmosphere according to our scientists, but was wiped out by the radiation.
Has he actually gotten to his point? I'm still wondering what's more likely.
I don't know.
I think is what's more likely?
What's more likely than the hacking?
Because Jesus should have protected those power grids. Apparently,
he's only got like 18 seconds to wrap it up.
Yeah.
He's not even going to get to it.
I think he sent a little warning. To me, that just highlighted the warning how vulnerable we are to the electromagnetic pulse.
Oh, okay. So it was a warning.
So God allowed one hacker to get through to show us the weakness in our electrical grid system, and that's more likely than a hacker getting in to show us the weakness of our electrical grid?
Or just that the sun did its thing?
Or
the electrical grid?
I don't know.
Well, from my understanding...
Write it down.
Because the last time those big fears were coming out where there's supposed to be that big electrical storm coming, people are all worried. Oh, it's gonna be mass blackouts and nothing's gonna work, and the people, and then all the engineers were like, no, we engineered the power grid to be able to withstand a solar storm from what we know we can get here. Now, an atomic blast is something completely different.
Will you Google that real quick and see what answers come up for what happened on that?
Sure.
I just want to see how far off this idiot is.
Well, the problem is that we're also assuming that what he said is an entire bullshit, right?
Yeah.
That even him, the beginning thing saying that these things went down, that's not bullshit. So
right. Well, he didn't say New York, did he? He said San Francisco and L.A. Didn't
San Francisco and L.A. For some reason, I thought it was East Coast and West Coast, kind of like the rap wars.
I don't remember now.
Los Angeles. Yeah, you were right. It was San Francisco, Los Angeles. Oh, but New York is in there too.
Yeah, New York, San Francisco,
Los Angeles. So we were both right.
Yep. Yeah, that's not even in the top.
But they're the largest. Some of the largest cities in the U.S.
and none of us have ever heard of this. So,
is that April 21st, 2017?
Okay, maybe
I've got something from Zero Hedge, something from WorldNet Daily.
Yeah,
I have never heard of any
Weasel
of these.
Zippers.
Oh,
okay.
Wait, there's
a Snopes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, let's see what Snopes says, because these are all crazy websites that are saying that there's
The Snopes fact check were power outages in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York caused by a cyber attack. Power outages did not take place simultaneously, and they appear to have been caused by physical mechanical failures.
Okay.
Claim: 3 power outages that coincided in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and New York were caused by Russian hacking. Rating: false.
Yep. Okay. So, not only is he the supreme skeptic we knew he was, but he's probably at least part totally lying.
Yes. Or he's went to one of those other sites that was from a quack job that just put it out there simultaneous. But he didn't even talk about he just said hackers. He didn't say, did he say Russian
No,
hackers?
I don't think he said Russian.
He just said hackers.
No, Republicans don't want to remind anybody about Russia right now.
They actually, I think in the White House, if you see any map, Russia is now just an ocean.
Okay.
They've gotten rid of it, so you can't even talk about it.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, total bullshit. Top to bottom bullshit.
But isn't that what all their stuff is?
So he takes a story that isn't even true to begin with, and then makes up a story about why that fake thing that never happened, and then why that fake supernatural answer is more likely than the actual answer he already admits to being very likely. So, great story.
Good job, Rick Joyner.
Yeah, fuckwad.
And his story was wrapped up on this show better than he did it himself. Write it down, dude. Write it down. Whenever I get demoted, I write my boss a page letter and read it out on the show.
Great place to end the show, I think. Thank you all very much for listening. Crucify that like button.
Leave a review to achieve nirvana.
And rate the show 5 times a day toward Mecca.
Do you know that Costello, I think it's Costello from Abbott and Costello. No, it's not him. It's the one of those other Abbott and Costello crews.
Huh?
From the 1930s through the 40s, that was like an Abbott and Costello crew. Hardy. Oral and Hardy.
No, Laurel.
Laurel and Hardy. There we go. Not Oral. Well,
Oral and Hardy.
Well,
yeah.
Oral Laurel wasn't the part of the story I needed. It was Hardy.
Moral Oral.
I made a guy at work sneeze rice 2 weeks ago.
Out of his nose?
It was fucking... I walked into the kitchen. I said something. I don't know what it was. I did something obviously funny because he fucking laughed really quick while he was eating and shot rice out of both nostrils onto the table.
Gross.
And I both fell on the floor laughing because
dude's head was full of maggots. Check it out. That's fucking gross.
It was funny. So, Harley Davidson forgot to patent parts of their motorcycle.
You did say Davidson again.
Hey, it's Wisconsin.
So our buddy Roy Moore is back in the news. I started that with so. Every time. Fucking, I don't like that.
And our buddy.
I'll kick you from underneath the table every time I say so.
I'm going to do it different. I'm going to do it different.
Okay.
Remember Get Her Done from last week?
Oh, God. I wanted to punch myself in the throat.